a new rise. Can somebody lift those hands? It's a new rise. I need you to speak it over your own life tonight. It's a new rise. It's a new rise.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Propel Deep Dive. I'm Megan DiMartino, and I am thrilled that you're here with us today. I have a very special guest. Sometimes I know people a little bit more than others, and this gal is from my community, and I have known her for a period of time here in Georgetown, Texas, and she is a fabulous woman as well as entrepreneur. So before I introduce Laura Terry, I would like to just share a little bit with you about the Propel Deep Dive. I have been building businesses for many, many years. And so it is incumbent upon me to share with you how to start, scale, and sustain the business and life of your dreams. Most people say to me, I'd love to start something, but I really have no idea where to begin. And so this is really a story of everyone else's journey, not mine. You can go to the Propel community. You can look into the Propel program, which has a program to help you start, scale, and sustain the business and life of your dreams. Join today the Propel the community itself, where you get a nugget of inspiration and encouragement from me every day. I call that the Propel Daily. We have newsletters and live events as well as virtual events. So a host of things. But the deep dive is about my guest. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a beginning, but they all have that burning desire to do something. And you'll see that thread through Laura's story, as well as my other guest. And you can go into the archives of the Propel community, and all of them are there. And these are people from all over the world, and their stories are there. And you can glean that information to see that we are all the same. We're all beginning and then building with those 5 C's: clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, and compassion. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you my dear friend, Laura Terry.
Hi,
Hello.
Megan.
Hello, my love. So good to have you here.
Thanks for having me. It's so great to be here.
Well, as I said in the intro, and we've spoken offline, that this is really about you and your journey. And what's interesting, Laura, is often when I am, well, probably most often, when I'm speaking with my guests, I hear things, nuggets of things I have no idea. So why don't you share with our guest and just start with where you were born, where you grew up, and a little bit about that young Laura and what brought you on some level here today, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in a small town in the western suburbs of Chicago. I was bone-chillingly shy from my earliest memories. I would have friends of my mom say, "Oh, what a pretty little girl," and I would just run behind her skirt and not want to be seen or have, eye contact. As I grew up and became a teenager, I found myself walking with my books, across my chest with my head down to the floor. I have vivid memories of, my mom asking me to get a salt shaker at a restaurant, and I couldn't ask the waitress. I remember her asking me to call and order a pizza, and I about had an anxiety attack. The idea of picking up a phone and calling someone that I didn't know was just more than I could take.
Wow.
So I grew up bone-chillingly shy. It wasn't until I became an adult and I tripped upon the Tony Robbins world. I started with his CDs and ended up going to a live event, and that I started to realize that the calling that I felt to like step up and do more actually could become possible, because I did not like living in that fear-based,
The fear, yes.
afraid of your shadow kind of life. And I will never forget, it was in Dallas. I saw the fire being built. It was when he would have us walk across the hot coals, and he asked us to pair up with someone that we had not come with. And I got paired up with this grandma, and I was this young girl. I had gotten paired up with this grandma, and I said to her, I don't think I can do this. Like, I didn't realize a firewalk was a part of this experience. Like, I think I need to just tap out. And she's like, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Let's go. And she just like grabbed my arm and took me out, and we took off my shoes and socks and rolled up my pants.
Wow.
And before I knew it, I was walking across fire and celebrating. And that was the first of what became a 30-year journey in the Tony Robbins world. I have done everything that he produces live and on audio and video.
I did not know that. Well, let me just go back for 1 sec before we start again there. Is that from that bone chilling, and you said it several times, so that's part of your spirit, and you've worked against that to squelch that, and have that fire, like you said. So how significant that fire walk of Tony Robbins. But so you mentioned Dallas. So you grew up in Chicago. By this point, were you living in Texas, or had that not happened yet?
Yes. So I was living in Texas. My ex-husband was from Austin, so I had relocated here. So yes, that's like fast forwarding quite a long time.
Right. Right. But you did. So you were living in Texas. And at that, so when you went to Tony Robbins, and I have been, but like you said, now mine started with cassette. That's
right.
The difference, And I used to travel in business, so I would travel with my little cassettes. But with that said, you obviously, to go to, let's say, like you said, fast forward, you obviously had a seed of something to want to go to Tony Robbins' event that had the firewalk, because you could just go to a mass thing. So that was a much more intimate setting when the firewalk was part of it. So what was going on in Laura at that time to propel you to go up to Tony's event?
Yeah, there was something about when I started listening to his CDs, and I didn't think going to a live event was going to be a part of my journey. There was something about being in the stands versus being on the court. And I had felt for a number of years that I was kind of watching other people go after their dreams. I remember someone saying, I'm a business owner. And I was like, what's that like? How do you even do that? And having this thing inside me say, maybe I could do that, but I have no idea how. So there was something inside me that was calling to get out of the stands and get on the court. But the whole idea of that was very, very scary.
Oh my gosh, yes, I'm sure. But you did it.
I did it. Well, thanks to the grandma. Yeah.
Well, not just grandma, but yes, thank you, grandma. But I'm saying you signed up and went and got out of the stands and went to the event and participated in that event.
Yes.
And so that's very, very, very positive. And I mean, not just positive, meaning obviously life-changing for you, but for our guests listening, because I'm always very conscious of what my guests, you, are saying for others to hear you, because people do go back. I get that comment all the time, Laura. I went back and I listened to XYZ, and people do. And so just know that experience, what you just shared, is applicable to many people. And that, from that place, then I'm talking about Tony's now, Robbins' event, what happened after that? Yes, grandma helped you do the firewalk, but
yes,
you left there.
Yes, I did everything that he offered, from life mastery to business mastery to date with destiny. I just really took on my mindset,
Mm-hmm.
my emotional intelligence, my emotional strength. I mean, he has I think it's a video on Netflix called I'm Not Your Guru. And there's a moment in the opening of that where he says, I built this bleepity bleep. And I look back at my, what has been a 30-year journey of turning myself into an entrepreneur, because I don't think that I was necessarily innately built to be an entrepreneur, but there was something about the entrepreneurial life that called me, and it felt like it would be more painful to not pursue being an entrepreneur than the pain I was feeling staying safe as a W-2. So and actually, Megan, this is June of 2025.
Yes,
It was
ma'am.
June of 2015, 10 years ago, that I quit my job in corporate America after spending a long time doing sales and marketing for other people.
Okay.
And I became an entrepreneur 10 years ago this month. So it's funny that you and I are talking this month when it's my 10-year anniversary.
It is. Yes.
Yes.
And there's no accidents. There are just not. And, you turned that pain into your passion and your purpose. And I always say that your passion comes first, because that is, deep in the heart of Texas there and Illinois, there was this entrepreneur in there, and to create.
Yes.
And then from there, your purpose is revealed to you as
Yes.
you continue on. And so it's been evolving, and it won't stop. I
Yes.
said, to you before that you can take this to the bank, that what today is June, 2025. If we were to revisit in 5 years, the thread will be the same, but the journey will be what you haven't even, anticipated.
Yes, I do feel like I'm a completely different person than I was back then, seeing the world differently, seeing opportunity, like standing in my own confidence as an entrepreneur. And now I know we'll talk more about the podcast in a minute, but I'm pivoting myself. I've gotten to a place in my career where I want to serve others. It's not just about me and my business. I want to serve and empower and inspire and equip others to become entrepreneurs, because it is the ultimate freedom to decide how you want to live your life and how you want to spend your time and how you are valued in the world. So
yes. And that's, as I said, it starts with your passion, and then your purpose is revealed. And as I always say, my passion is to create, but my purpose is you. And it's just what you said, to share all of these years and all of this experience to help others. Yes.
Yes.
So here you are, leaving your job 20 years ago, your corporate job, as you said, sales and marketing for others. Is that when you got involved in the magazine industry, or tell
Yeah, it was 10 years ago. I'll never forget it. I was working for a fitness equipment company, living in Austin, driving to Houston, and they asked me to fly to LA for a 24-hour trip. But to save $200 in airfare, they asked me to drive to Houston to fly out of IAH instead of the Austin airport. So I had a big, long drive at the beginning and end of that, what was a very quick flight. And I came home from that, and I just said to myself, I have a 4-year-old child, and I just lost all of this time. It could have been a really easy flight in and out of Austin. This other person decided the value of my time was not high enough to pay the $200 to fly me out of Austin. They made me go to Houston. I came home, and I was so just done with it that I quit without having another job.
Oh, I see. Okay.
My brain was like, I'm smart, I'm talented, I've been doing this for decades, I can get another job.
For sure.
So I was searching for a job, and that's when I got on LinkedIn, and I found the opportunity to be a franchise owner with N2, and that's when I got into publishing and entrepreneurship. So yeah, it was the pain of being at someone else's beck and call that made me say enough. And I know that Tony says that people will do more to avoid pain than they will to go after pleasure. And I had so much pain in that moment that I didn't care, that I didn't know what the future looked like. I just was like, I will not tolerate this for one more minute. And my family thought I was nuts, quitting my job without, knowing what I was going to do next. But now looking back 10 years later, I'm so grateful that I had that pain, because if it had not got so painful, I wouldn't have had the courage to take the leap.
Well, as Tony Robbins says, massive action, right?
That's right.
I mean, that's his mantra. Yes. But massive pain propels you to move.
Yes.
And otherwise you get smothered by it.
That's exactly right.
And then that massive action, and that's what you took. And so share with our guests about the N2 and the magazines. I mean, so you were familiar, very successful, and not only familiar, but successful in sales and marketing. So taking that leap and building, because you have multiple, territories?
Yes.
Yes. So you started with one and then continued to build. So share that in the light of not only that, that is a vehicle, meaning a magazine vehicle. So it's marketing for other businesses, but you also grew it from one, territory to more. So again, tie it into where that it was part of that evolution.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing that I had to wrestle with when I first got started was the idea of having to sell. So as the director of marketing and, marketing consultant for other businesses for 30 years, I sat on a certain side of the table. People would come to me and say, would you buy a billboard? Would you buy a newspaper ad? Would you buy a Yellow Pages ad? I mean, I've been in it so long, and back to the Yellow Page days.
Right.
I had so many people asking me to buy media from them that I had learned to play that side of the table very, very well. So when I became an entrepreneur, I really had to wrestle with the inner self-confidence related to my ability to enroll someone else in one of my own ideas. And the very first publication that I ran for N2 was called Avery Ranch Living. I was living in Avery Ranch at the time, and I said to myself, well, if I can do this, I can do it in the community where I live, because I love where I live. And I started to reach out to business owners and tell them what I was building, which was a magazine that would connect the community, and we would host events, and we would tell stories about businesses. And the first few months were really hard because I had never sold anything before. And I remember looking in the mirror and crying and saying, who are you to think you can even do this? And I had a lot of that internal struggle back and forth. But I just said to myself, I'm not going back to corporate America. It is not an option. I have cut off all alternatives. So it's this or it's this. Right. So let's go.
Burn the boats, as
burn the boats.
Burn the boats, as Napoleon says. Yes.
Yes.
Wow. So, and to me, and because I've been in sales probably my entire life, because on some level, sales is communicating and sharing your point of reference to others.
Yes.
And but I've always felt very strongly as an adult in quote unquote sales that if I don't believe in something, I cannot absolutely not communicate that with someone.
Absolutely. And I think where I've come after now 10 years of being an entrepreneur, and sales is a huge part of who I am now, is that what I believe is that if they don't work with me, like they are missing out.
Right.
Like there's so much value and so much benefit that they'd be crazy not to. So I feel almost like a responsibility to
Mhm.
let them know that I exist, because if they don't know that I exist, they'll continue to struggle with the problem that they have. But if they'll just work with me, I'll solve that problem for them. So I've really learned that sales makes the world go round.
Mhm.
When I was a media buyer and a marketer, I worked in the fitness industry for about 20 years, buying media and running marketing campaigns. I used to see salespeople as like I don't know, the ones that would knock on my door and they'd want a piece of my budget. And I just, I really
It wasn't a
struggled.
relationship. It wasn't a relationship.
Yeah, I felt like they just wanted a transaction with me. So when I got into sales, I was like, how do I make this about a transformation of a business problem?
Mhm.
So, what is it that I can do with this magazine that they cannot do for themselves?
Mhm.
And once I show them that problem we solve and how we can do something for them they cannot do for themselves, it's much easier. It doesn't feel like sales. It feels like just helping people.
Exactly, Laura. I mean, that really is the foundation of solving a problem and serving a need. And
That's
that
right.
is really that transactional relationship, with quote unquote, yes, there's money transaction, but it is about the relationship building. So I initially said 20 years, but you had said that you were in corporate then, and 10 years of your own building your own
Yes.
businesses. And
Yes.
so then you have now multiple locations, correct?
So I have dialed it down to just be local Georgetown. I have
Awesome.
someone else that's running the other ones.
I see.
When I moved to Georgetown 6 years ago, I fell in love with this town.
Mhm.
And I took what I had been doing in North Austin and Cedar Park to the city of Georgetown. And I said, would you like to see, it's called Be Local. It's a new mover guide. And I said, would you like to see this come to Georgetown? And they said, we've known for a long time that the future of Georgetown is the new mover. And we have never had the resources or time or money or staff or budget, whatever, to
Mhm.
proactively reach out to them. Can we partner with you? And I said, that's exactly what I was hoping that you would say. So we do partner with the city of Georgetown to publish this award-winning new mover guide for the city of Georgetown. And it is my great honor. I feel a huge responsibility to pass on the history, heart, and culture of Georgetown to the new people that are moving here from out of town and out of state. They've come here because something has attracted them to Georgetown.
Mhm.
And I want to give them, like in a little box with a bow on it, like all the
Mhm.
things that we as locals love about Georgetown, so they can very quickly plug in and go from feeling like an outsider to feeling like an insider.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Outsider to an insider. And I came to Georgetown, as you know, 21 years ago, and started my business here 20 years ago, July 5th,
Wow,
2005.
congratulations.
Mhm.
2
Mhm.
decades. Well, you've
Mhm.
seen a lot of changes in this town.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, yes. But the essence of why I'm not, this is about you, not I, but the one thing I will say, and this is applicable to what we're speaking about, I saw Georgetown the summer of 2003, and my daughter was looking to possibly buy a home here. She asked me to come and look at this home. But we lived in Connecticut for many, many years. That's where she was born. And she said, oh, they have a very cute square. You would like it. She knew me. She knew what I liked. So we came down here. It was market days. And July of 2003. And I went, hmm. And so I started studying, really demographically, and called the chamber and so forth. But yes, it's very different, but yet not, meaning but I knew as I knew. And it's not just the trite statement and factual statement of location, 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 but I knew if in fact I came here, I would be on the historic Georgetown Square. And that is what I've done. So I'm sitting in the lobby boutique of the Novita Beauty Regenerative Wellness right now. So with that, and I just want to really go back to what you said of the partnership, Laura, with the city. That is That is huge. That is huge.
It
You
is huge.
It is huge.
We I feel like we have two responsibilities. One is to the new mover,
Mhm.
to help them, like a best friend, discover what we as locals love about our community. And by doing that, we cut years off the amount of time it takes for them to find great local businesses. But our other responsibility is to the local businesses. I mean, many businesses like yours have been in and around Georgetown for years or decades.
Yes.
And the new movers that are coming in from out of town and out of state, they don't know those stories. They don't know the best local businesses. So it's my job to help our most trusted, most reputable, most long-standing contributors in the business community to get in front of these new movers when they first arrive, so that I can introduce them as a trusted local business, so that they can fight the dilution of their brand awareness that happens because the population has exploded and there's so many new people coming in.
Yes.
So I feel like those are the two ways that I serve, is making sure our newcomers have an easier go of it, but also that our businesses have a way to introduce themselves to all of the new people.
Yes, it's phenomenal. And so about maybe a month ago, not quite, I saw on Facebook a post that you did about you partnering with someone, but regardless of that you were going to launch a podcast coming soon, so to speak.
Yes. So it is.
Share a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important in this moment to go back to the bone-chillingly shy girl that we talked about at the beginning. I feel called, and I do believe it's a calling on my life, to use my voice to help others, which is crazy to me since I grew up so shy that I couldn't open my mouth. So the podcast comes from that. I have known for a long time that I was being called to step up and use my voice. And I still was kind of saying to God, are you sure? Like, remember the shy girl? Like, what value do I have? Imposter syndrome kicks in, like all of that crazy stuff. But again, I'm in that moment in my life where I feel like I have more to contribute. Like, I'm not afraid. It feels like for the first time, I'm not afraid to use my voice. I'm not afraid to have other people judge me. I'm here to serve. What we're doing is we're creating a podcast called The Unbridled Creative, and it's kind of where business intersects faith. So we are looking to tell stories of people that have felt constrained by whether it be a limiting belief or a physical constraint, a financial constraint, something that held them back from going after the life of their dreams, but they felt pulled by their faith to jump that fence, like go, that's why we say unbridled, to go after their dream. And we say creative because the entrepreneur is born to create. They're going to create something that solves a problem that they're passionate about. So yeah, we've started recording our episodes. We're going to get about 20 in the bank before we, take it to the world, but we're taking it out publicly this fall, the Unbridled Creative Podcast. And I'm so excited about this. If I, could make a living doing one thing for the rest of my days, it would be speaking, using my voice to equip and empower and inspire other people.
That's it. Say that again. Equip. Say it again.
Yep. That I believe that my mission now is to use my voice to inspire, equip, and empower other people, specifically to follow their calling that God has put on their life, to believe that they can do it, to give them tools and training to physically do it if they are lacking some sort of a skill, and to tell stories of other people like you. We'd love to have you on our podcast, Megan, to tell stories of other people that have done it so that they can see the path. It's
our stories, facts tell, stories sell. And again, we talked about sell. We don't have to go there again, but meaning it's helping to solve a problem, serve a need. And that's why I've been doing this for 5 years, is to help people see, just as you said, that you too can do this. You too can do this. From bone chilling shyness to a media expert. Come on, guys. Come on. As
I,
they say in New York, come
I,
on. Come on.
I do believe that if I can inspire someone with my story of how I couldn't look someone in the eye and I couldn't open my mouth,
Mhm.
to now I'm, a co-host of a podcast.
Right. Right.
That's been a big transformation. And I do believe it's a calling on my life. And we're so excited to bring this resource to the world. It will be a podcast and it will also be a mastermind. We want to create a community
Yes.
of like-minded people that want to come together and build and grow businesses.
It is. I would love to be on, but also, mastermind together how this over here,
Yes.
Propel can be. It's a short little, but it's based. And I was thinking as you were speaking just now about how this little gal who couldn't say hello is saying hello. But it built not so. Put the clarity over there for a minute, because it doesn't have to come this way. But you built that courage muscle. You built it.
Yes.
And then confidence, and then that commitment.
Yes.
And now you're committed to take the show on the road, so to speak.
Yes.
And not stop. And so now you're clear on what that is, and it will just continue to go on from there. So it's not this, it's this.
Oh, for sure.
And
when you told me about your 5 C's, I'm like, yep. Like, I see how that has played out in my own journey, and it has not been quick and it has not been easy. That's why we call it the unbridled creative, because when you are a creative, you are always going to be challenged by something. So to have that mindset of, okay, well, this is just another fence that I need to jump so that I can have the freedom on the other side to create and deliver what God has created. So it's got that 2 sides to it, right? God has created me to do something big with my life. And then we are creatives. So it's got the faith and it's got the business.
Amen. Amen. You're basically in evolving a business and doing, URLs are a part of it. And with my team, I said about a year ago, I said, I want to see if the URL Biz Ministry is available. So yes, it was. And so we have that. And because, as you just said, Laura, we all have that in us. And however that is created, but your ministry. So I would like you to share, since you brought up faith. And I'm so thrilled that that's a component of this.
Yeah.
So thrilled that it's a component. Is that share what that term biz ministry resonates with you.
Biz ministry. So again, kind of going back to in sales, I believe that if they're not doing business with me, like, I can't help solve their problem. So if we are out there trying to solve problems, ease pain, make lives better, again, empower, equip, inspire, biz ministry means we can use our businesses to make the world a better place, ease pain, solve problems, empower people to live their life that God created them to live.
Amen. Amen. And that right there in the middle of that is that Jeremiah 29:11, that he has a plan. We just need to listen and continue to evolve with it. But I heard someone say recently that, yes, God has a plan, but if he told us the end result, we would probably never start.
Right.
Because it's in the journey.
Yes.
And so the power and the passion evolves in that journey. So you have had such an amazing journey, and I am so thrilled that we have met and God has connected us, and we're just beginning.
Yes.
With that, and not only Georgetown is blessed by you, Miss Laura, but just again your journey and what you're going to be doing, because you've been in media for a long time now.
Yep.
And you understand it. And
Yep.
so it is about that, because we can't get away from it. It is part of our lives.
That's
So,
right. Yep.
Yes. As we close, would you like to share just a little nugget of your heart with our guests?
Well, I think that I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my podcast co-host, Trent Souls, for being on this journey with me. I think all of us have people in our lives that see us for bigger and more than we are. And Trent has been a good friend and coach to me. He's also a B local publisher in the Southwest Columbus area. And when I told him the idea for this podcast, and I saw his faith is the size of Texas, when I saw what we could do together, and he said, yes, let's do it, I just want to thank him, because I feel like we are being called to do this. And I don't even know what's going to happen, but we're going to use our voices to serve people and see where it goes.
Well, that's an important point to share as we close. We cannot do this life alone. It is incumbent upon us to reach out to a trusted people like you did with and build with them. It's imperative. It really is. So thank you, Miss Laura, for joining me today.
Thank you, Megan.
And we look forward to I look forward to being with you and doing things together. So we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. As I said, I learn things every time I interview someone, every time. And it's so enriching for me and so encouraging for me to hear people like Laura share her journey for you and understand that you are not alone. And you have so many resources, not only with the Propel community that I've crafted and working and building. I'm doing, by the way, I'd love to invite you to join me on YouTube. I'm doing Megan DiMartino, my page. I'm doing 75 days, 75, of love, hope, and joy. I started on May 30th. Today is the 25th day. And I share a little nugget of that on Instagram and Facebook, but the live is on my YouTube page as this is live here. So it's the Megan DiMartino page. But I'm doing that, guys, because I asked the Lord, what do you want me to do in remembrance of a birthday that's coming up August 12th of mine, which I don't often talk about my age, but I'm turning 75. 75 spins around the sun. And so he said, take the Propel daily and create and share your heart. Okay, you got it. And so I'm on day 25. So I look forward to having you with me. I go live about 10:30 to 11:30, somewhere in there, and building a little community over there. So that is part of the journey, and it's sharing the journey. So I look forward to seeing you next time for the Propel Deep Dive. But do join me on the Propel community, where the stream says propel.megandimartino.com/info. So I'll see you soon, and be blessed.